Back to the top of the league then, Neil, after a 6-0 win that, in all honesty, could have been even more. A very satisfying weekend for everyone.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, obviously the highlight was the performance, regardless of what went on, yesterday. We were, from start to finish, the best complete performance, certainly in my time here in the second spell. To score 6 is no mean feat, but you're right, it could have been more. It was really controlled, quick, exciting football, and I thought we played better in the first half, but we ended up scoring a deluge of goals in the second half. I thought some of the football in the first half was breathtaking, and Ross County have come off the back of 4 games unbeaten. It shows the measure of the performance.
Just on that, and in terms of this kind of ruthless streak, I think you mentioned that you said to your players at half time, what kind of team do you want to be? A nice team, or do you want to be a ruthless team? I'm not sure if that was the exact word, but you can kind of understand at the end of the game when the referee's looking at it 6-0, not bothering with too much injury time, just a minute. But we're top of the league at the moment by virtue of having scored 1 more goal than Rangers. How important is it that when we're in this kind of ruthless streak, if you like, that the referees still add on as much time as they should?
Well, I did say to my staff, I said, we'll only get 1 minute here because the game's away, it's very flat. And that's not consistent with, the law. We made 3 subs, I think, Ross County made 3, so you're looking at least 3 minutes there. So it may come in handy to have a couple extra minutes maybe where we could have added 1 or 2 more, but that would take away from, the overall riding emotion for me was one of, immense pride in that performance.
Yeah, and of course looking ahead now, big game against Lazio in the Europa League. I suppose a performance like Saturday's makes your job of getting the team focused a lot easier.
Yeah, I don't think, look, we're not getting carried away, but we know what the team's capable of, and they have shown now what they're capable of when the challenge is put down to them. Lazio, class team, Serie A, great pedigree. It's a glamour game for us, and one that all the players, it's mouth-watering, not just for the players but for the supporters, and one that the players have worked hard to get to, in a really strong position in the group. And obviously, I think most people would have fancied Lazio to be favourites for the group when the draw was made. So there's so many incentives to the players going into this game, so many incentives to the supporters. And yes, well, we do know the league is the priority, no question about that, and that will remain the same right up until, the end of May. I think it's really important that we enhance our reputation in Europe. We've got European players, we've got quality players who have, proven so far that they can play at that level. And it's a big game under the lights, which is what the fans crave and what the players crave.
Italian teams, when we think about Italian teams, you tend to think of teams who are very strong at the back, difficult to break down, creative in midfield with a real goal-scoring threat up front. Do Lazio conform to that stereotype?
Yeah, I mean, the striker of Immobile is talent, Italian international, proven goal scorer. And then, they play a back 3, so the defensive structure's normally pretty sound, but in recent weeks they've sort of conceded a few goals, which obviously, should encourage us really. But for me, we're at home, and it's a great advantage to have that, and we must maximise the home advantage. And if we can win the game, and it's still a big if, it puts us in such a great position in the group going forward.
You were forced into making some changes at the weekend with Ryan not being there, but you also chose to bring in Jeremy Frimpong at right back for just his second game as a professional, and he really impressed. The fans are getting to know a lot more about Jeremy. Give us some information as to how this deal came about. When did you first see him, and what was it about him that impressed you?
Yes. Good story, because it was only maybe about 2-3 months ago when Man City brought a development team up to play our development team, and Jeremy was playing in the game, and I was very, very impressed with what I saw, and spoke to Damien. Damien has watched bits of the game, and obviously John had looked at the analysis, and we were very impressed. And then obviously with Nick in the building, we're looking for a right back. We threw it to Nick, and he had heard good things and seen him, and obviously background reports. All of a sudden an opportunity came up to do the deal, and Peter, to be fair, was right at the forefront of that as well, because Jerry would come under the bracket of emerging talent, which is really important for the club. So at 19, we think for the money that we've paid for him, we've got an outstanding talent on our hands. And what you see on the pitch is what you see away from the pitch, this little energetic buzz bomb. He's all personality, and he's just really proud to be here. And the week leading into the Ross County game, his training levels are outstanding, and it was just impossible to leave him out of the team.
Yeah, is it one of these ones where, in order to keep ahead of the game, especially when you're kind of fishing in the English market, sometimes you have to take a chance and not sit back and scout for too long, because another team might come in and take him.
Absolutely.
And this is one that's paid off.
Absolutely, yeah. And we hope that he will go on to, progress into the player that we hope he will be. Afalabi will come under that category as well. Leo O'Connor, Luke O'Connell. So we're building, not just for the present, obviously with the current first team squad, but the talent underneath that. You've got Dembele, you've got Oko Flex, you've got Kerr McEnroy coming back, hopefully from a long-term injury pretty soon as well. You've got Daniel Arzani. So there's young, hungry talent underneath what we already have is a really solid first team squad.
Odsonne Edouard got on the score sheet again. He himself, we sometimes forget, still young, he's only 21, he's becoming a real talisman here. Also on the international stage, a recent hat-trick for France under-21s, that's 9 goals for them in the last 4 games. It's 11 he's got for us. How important is it for you to have that striker that you can rely on to score, not just domestically, but on the big European stage?
Listen, it's since the year dot really, at Celtic, we've always had good strikers, great strikers, and Odsonne has certainly come into that category. Currently, he's in probably the best form of his career, even though it's still a very short career. But you can see the improvements that he's making in his game in terms of his link-up play, his understanding of the players around him, and the volume of goals he's scoring as well. He could have had a couple before half-time. I was delighted he got off, very quickly in the second half. I think he deserved the goal. Great to see him score a header again. And all those facets are leading up to, a great all-round centre forward. And you're right, at 21, he's still young and he's still got more to come. And we're just really happy with him. And he seems really happy with his form and obviously life here in Glasgow.
And also to pick out, if I can, James Forrest and Callum McGregor, 2 players who it looks like you're trying to protect. They came on, they did the job on Saturday, but then with the number of games that they play domestically on an international level, you get the opportunity to pull them off and keep them protected.
Yeah, James, he was raging with me, because he was playing brilliantly. But the game, we'd won the game, we were 4 or 5-0 up at that stage, and obviously you don't want an injury, a late injury, and it's the same with Callum. Callum's form, recently has been just outstanding as well. And delighted with his goal, and delighted with not so delighted with the one he hit the post with, but the run that he made to get there. He's just adding, again, little stronger aspects of his play that, was maybe, I think he's on 4 or 5 now for the season, which is a great start for him as well. So, yeah, we got to protect him sometimes, and obviously give the likes of Sved, and Bio, an opportunity to get some game time. It was great to see Sved back and fit and training, and that's a wee incentive for him as well.
James looks like such an easygoing, placid character. He doesn't seem like the kind of player that would get raging with his manager.
Not raging, but like upset, and he doesn't get upset very often. He just wants to play, and all this talk about resting him, and you don't want to, because when he's in the mood, like he was on Saturday, he's a joy to watch. And but I want him to save some of that for Thursday, hopefully.
Yeah, and just finally then on Thursday, the fans obviously get the buzz from the big European nights under the lights. Will you be getting the buzz in the dugout?
No question. Love it. I crave it, and it's really important to me personally. Not only as a player, but obviously more importantly now as a manager, that we have these nights. And I would love us to progress through the group and have European football after Christmas. But we know we've still got a lot of work to do. But the buzz and the anticipation and the lift that the fans give the players is huge, and it's been the case certainly since I've been here the last 20 years.